We're beginning, of course, with Greece, a country that's taken another step towards its bailout.
Yes, that's right. The country is set to sell its first bonds on the international markets, and almost 4 years later, it's a chance to test investor confidence in Greece after 6 years of recession that's seen almost a quarter of the value of its economy wiped off. A successful sale of Greek debt will bring Greece closer to exiting its €240 billion bailout, but that hasn't come without its fair share of pain. Unemployment remains the highest in the EU, and in the latest sign of discontent in Greece, a car bomb has this morning exploded outside a Bank of Greece branch in Athens. No injuries reported, and that a warning was phoned into a local newspaper. There's been no claim of responsibility for that yet. Greece has its fair shares of economic problems to deal with, as Siobhan Silk now explains.
It's a rush to invest in Greece. The country's first foray onto the capital markets for 4 years has generated huge demand. It's received €11 billion worth of orders, 4 times the amount the government's planning to raise. Analysts expect the yield or interest rate to be lower than predicted, around 5%, far from the 30% seen at the height of the crisis. The success of the offer is calming earlier fears that Greece wouldn't be able to get through 2014 without needing further aid. The country has been kept afloat with a €240 billion bailout package from the EU and IMF. Excluding interest payments on its debt, Greece posted a budget surplus last year and is expected to finally exit recession in 2014. But debt is still weighing heavily. It's over 170% of GDP. And opposition lawmakers warn a return to the bond market isn't a cure-all.
Those who are celebrating and those who are using the return to the markets as pre-election fireworks should keep their mouths shut, because the harsh daily difficulties of every Greek has nothing to do with the triumph that the government is talking about.
Nationwide anti-austerity protests brought Greece to a standstill on Wednesday. Unemployment remains stubbornly high at around 28%. Economists say it will take time to turn fledgling growth into jobs.
Well, hoping to follow in Greece's footsteps will be Cyprus. Their €10 billion bailout, just a drop in the ocean compared to the €240 billion that Greece has borrowed. But their president is hoping they'll be able to exit their rescue programme sooner than expected, although he's also warned that sanctions on Russia could hinder the Cypriot recovery.
At the moment, we hope that by the end of 2015, we will be in a position to return to the markets. It is a very short period in comparison to other countries that were in similar programs. In the meantime, any testing of the markets would be determined by the reduction of the spreads.
Take us through what's happening in the markets this morning, Stephen.
Well, things are looking a little bit more positive in Asia today than they were yesterday after the 2% fall we saw on the Nikkei in Tokyo. It's just down by 0.1%. It had been in positive territory earlier through the morning. Things also in the red in Shanghai this afternoon. New figures showing that both imports and exports fell sharply in China in March. Another sign of that potential slowdown in the world's second largest economy. And we're
going to have a look now at some of the day's companies news, starting with the Bank of America.
Yeah, that's right. The American lender has been fined some $800 million for illegally charging credit card customers for services they didn't receive. The amount covers fines and refunds to customers who paid for monitoring and reporting add-ons. It's the largest ever settlement over such a matter in the United States. Hewlett-Packard is to pay US regulators over $100 million over a corruption scandal at the computer maker. The fine is over allegations that government officials were bribed in Poland, Russia and Mexico to win and retain public contracts. Former HP executive in Poland has been charged over handing over some $600,000 worth of equipment to the head of IT at the country's police headquarters.
Finally, Stephen, we're going to have a look at the boss of an English retailer who's proving particularly generous.
Yeah, it wouldn't be a bad time to be working at Next, the fashion retailer staple of the British High Street. Their chief executive has said he's going to share a €5 million share bonus with the staff who work at Next. There's his Lord Wolfson. He said that he's going to share the bonus between 20,000 full and part-time staff who worked at the retailer between 2011 and 2014. He said that's because the company is doing so much better now than it was back in 2011. It'll amount to about €240 each for those employees, or an average pay rise of 1.5% for them. It's the second time Lord Wolfson has chosen to share his bonus with staff. He said that because the retailer is so much more valuable now than it was and it's doing so much better, he felt he was able to share the profits with them.
What a lovely boss. Stephen Carroll, thank you very much indeed. And look there at the business news this morning, 20 minutes past 7 here in Paris. We're going to have a look now at what's making headlines here in France, in the French